Hey y'all, how's it going? Today I am going to be talking about Moon Knight. I already talked about Moon Knight, but I just wanted to have some time. It's been a week since the finale now. I wanted to properly review Moon Knight. Now that we've gotten all 6 episodes, we've seen everything, and now I can kind of look at it like a movie and critically examine it. Now, I am going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible just in case, there's that one person out there who hasn't seen it and it's kind of like, should I watch it? Should I not? And so, there might be some stuff here and there, but ultimately, I'm just going to kind of share my overall thoughts about the whole of Moon Knight. And I would say, overall, I had a really good lasting impression about this series. I mean, I'm like, do I recommend someone watch this? Absolutely. I know, again, that's still kind of a silly question. A lot of people are already just kind of doing the homework and watching every single Marvel show that comes out and every single movie. But I think the good thing about Moon Knight is that it has a low barrier of entry. And what I mean by that is it's not connecting to 700 movies that came before it. As far as I know, it doesn't seem like it's connecting to anything in future MCU projects. It really just exists in a bubble all on its own. We've got a new character, a new villain, new plot, new setting. Everything is brand spanking new, and I really think they pull it off. And what really sold it for me 100% was Oscar Isaac in this role. I don't know if I should summarize it or not. Basically Oscar Isaac is playing this man who has dissociative identity disorder, and so that causes a lot of trouble in his life because he's got these split personalities who really have are trying to figure out what's going on in their lives and why are things wonky and why am I forgetting dates and missing time and ending up in weird places. And then on top of that, you've got more of the comic book element of the plot, which is you've got this guy, Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur Harrow, who is leading this cult, and ultimately their goal is to use an Egyptian goddess to cast judgment over the world and eliminate all the sinners from Earth, essentially. So, that's the comic book plot, and then Oscar Isaac's character gets mixed into that through one of his identities, and it's a race against a clock to stop the villain. So that's what it is overall. But to me, the more interesting part was this stuff between Oscar Isaac's characters, the main two, Steven and Mark, who it was hard for me to kind of keep track of them at first, but the good thing is that Oscar Isaac is such a great character, and I think the characters are written so well that they do become two very distinct individuals. It's not just one guy likes red and one guy likes blue. They have completely different accents, completely different wants and needs and likes and fears, and so I just have to give Oscar Isaac props because in every single episode he worked his butt off to bring these characters to life, and that to me just really astounded me. And it's surprising because at first I said, I was like, I'm not really a fan of the wimpy character that he plays, Steven, and then by the end of the series I'm fangirling, oh, it's my favorite character. So I have to give them props for that. And what I also loved about the whole dynamic between the exploration of Steven and Mark was that there was still a mystery to be solved. It was yeah, you've got the whole we've got to stop the villain thing. That's one thing. But to me, what I found to be the most interesting part was that every episode they would be kind of leaving you breadcrumbs about, their lives and why he ended up this way to begin with. And so that to me was the more compelling narrative. I know we've got all these Marvel things and checklists to fulfill about, fighting and villains and all that stuff. But I was the crux of this whole entire series was not Moon Knight. It was the study of these two characters, Mark and Steven. I will say though, the downside to that was overall, I was not blown away by the ending and how everything concluded. Okay, if we're talking about A and B plots, I think the way that the plot with Steven and Mark, how that kind of wrapped itself up, I think that was very well done and I was impressed with it. But again, just having to knock out all of the comic book stuff, which I can't be upset. This is a Marvel Studios production, so every time I'm bad guy has to get his butt kicked or something like that, and I'm well, this is a Marvel television series, so what did you expect? But to me, I've just been so I enjoyed the finale, but I will say that it just when you put in so many hours, like 6 or 7 hours worth of screen time with these characters, it's like you really want an amazing payoff. You're expecting a huge payoff. And this just kind of felt like, things happened. But it's not the same as a movie where you after 2 hours, you're just kind of like, okay, that ended up really well. It's like you've got so many working threads going on that you are expecting something amazing. And I think part of what led to that kind of fizzle was that they were being really strong midway in the series when they introduced this kind of twist and this kind of mind-bendy part to it, which, again, we're dealing with someone with dissociative identity disorder. So that's like, you're just stacking these mysteries on top of each other. And I thought that was really, really awesome. But to me, that part really kind of just fizzled out. It felt like they wanted to go the extra mile, and then right at the finish line, they were like, no, we're not really gonna go there, with this idea that we introduced. So I would have given them major props if they had done that. But the fact that they had this hesitancy kind of made me a bit, that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to take away a few points. But yeah, as I was talking about as well, just having it being a comic book, not movie, but comic book TV series, to me, there was also something weird about striking a balance between the actual hero or vigilante Moon Knight compared to how much screen time we get with him without the mask. And we definitely get a lot more, screen time with Mark and Steven, but it felt like Moon Knight as a comic book, I'll call him a hero for the sake of, saying, hey, he's a comic book person, as the hero was just kind of, it didn't strike the right balance. And it felt like whenever he was in a scene, whenever he did transform into Moon Knight, it felt just kind of shoehorned in there. It didn't really feel overly spectacular. It was exciting to see him as Moon Knight, but some of it just didn't feel earned, and it didn't feel, I don't know. The finale, it made sense, but it's kind of hard. I'm like, I don't personally know how I would strike that balance between him having to be the hero and him being himself. But again, my personal preference was just spending time with Mark and Steven. So, I mean, I guess it's fine by me. That being said, aside from Moon Knight as a character, I did actually enjoy some of the other characters. I thought they were really well-rounded. They had a lot of well-intentions, not a lot of eye-rolling stuff, like, oh, why would they do that? Or, that's going to lead to a plot hole. I really enjoyed, for example, one of the characters, Layla, who was very close to Steven and Mark, and I don't know, I wasn't expecting to latch on to her. To me, I was like, okay, she's headstrong, she's caring, and she's brave. And then I was like, okay, am I projecting? Am I seeing this character? And she's got curly hair, and I was like, okay, I might be, or maybe it's the fact that she gets to spend a lot of time with Oscar Isaac. I don't know. Maybe that could also be the other reason I was very attached. Who knows? But I think the actress May Calamawy, she did an awesome job as Layla, and I am really, really excited to see more of her. I'm really hoping that we can. And as well, Ethan Hawke as Arthur Harrow, he did an awesome job as the villain, and it's just a different kind of villain altogether because he's just so cool-tempered. It was like Arthur was still approachable in this weird, creepy way, and the way that he talked to you, it was like he was so headstrong. He didn't really have to lose his temper. He really didn't always have to put up a fight. He was just like, I'm right. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to win. And so, you stupid little baby, don't try to kill my vibe because I'm going to win. And so I just thought that was a really awesome approach to his character. He's not like, some kind of psychopath, going, well, I mean, given his motives, but, just not like a brawny kind of guy. Or I just really enjoyed that. Okay, as well, I love the vibe of this series, and I wasn't expecting that. And something that really stood out to me was the musical, the score, the Moon Knight theme. It's kind of mysterious. It's dramatic. It's a little moody. It strikes curiosity. So I was like, I could listen to the soundtrack and just be completely captured. But also just the whole idea of it being Egyptian culture, doing, you know, some tomb raiding stuff, being in Egypt, dealing with the ancient gods and all that stuff. I just found that to be really fascinating. In fact, I didn't explain this in my last video. This is a scarab beetle. It's not a beetle on my wrist, but my grandparents got me this from Egypt. They went earlier this year, and so I'm like, now I'm just kind of fascinated that I have this bracelet from Egypt, because Moon Knight kind of made me a geek about that. But otherwise, yeah, I was like, oh man, I didn't realize how much I loved this tomb raiding genre, you know, kind of like The Mummy or Indiana Jones or Lara Croft. So that awoken something in me. I was like, okay, I really like this, and I don't know how much more they would go in that direction if they were to continue this series, but they really should. Let's just go all in. So overall, Moon Knight, oh my gosh, I'm speaking really, really highly of it. I think I'll give it a B. I think it's really solid. I think that's a really strong grade. I think, again, if they went above and beyond, I could really, really push it into that A upper echelon. But to me, again, they kind of took the safe route, it being Marvel. So I think a B is a strong grade overall. And I don't know what their plans are to continue the character. It's all up in the air as of right now, unless, you know, I'm missing a tweet or something. But I think this series was really so well received that they need to continue. They need to bring Oscar Isaac back. I really hope he enjoyed playing this character, because I enjoyed watching him. And I wrote down my MCU list. I had to think about this as far as the top TV series on Disney Plus. So let's go backwards. Let's make this more dramatic. So coming at number 6, unless I forgot something, is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At number 5, I have Hawkeye. At number 4, I put in What If. I know it's not live action, but it counts. At number 3, I put Our Dear Moon Knight. At number 2 is the Loki series. And at number 1, I have WandaVision. So top 3, that's not bad. That's 50%. That's the best of the best almost. So let me know. I'm curious to know your ranking so far of the MCU series and where you would place Moon Knight. Let me know about that down in the comments as well. If you've seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I want you all to go right now and check out my memes video where we talk about spoilers, but in a fun way. We look at memes. But otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, hey, please give me a like and be sure to subscribe. We'll be talking about a lot of Marvel for many, many days to come. So thanks so much, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.